Hand out, she holds. It's feeling like we've been here before. We're both so broke. That's something that'll keep us afloat. Don't walk too slow. We can't keep falling deeper again. Came too close and the taste so far from pure. A rush of blood, but we search for so much more. We've all been here before. We've all been here before. We've all been here before. Hand out, she holds. It's feeling like we've been here before. We're both so broke. That's something that'll keep us afloat. Don't walk too slow. We can't keep falling deeper again. Came too close and the taste so far from pure. A rush of blood, but we search for so much more. We've all been here before. We've all been here before.
Hello and welcome to a quick recap of Shenandoah's second week of competition. Due to inclement weather, Shenandoah did have 2 days off from competition, but we still have some great matches to cover. Starting off, we saw their strongest performance this semester, taking a commanding 5-point lead for round 1 and snowballing that momentum to secure a very fast 3-0 victory to start off the week. For the Academy Street Fighter 6 team, we saw the first opponent, Rasheen FGC, give Whack a lot of trouble. However, Whack bounced back for his next series against Chimpanzee, where he would take a commanding 5-0 series win. Finally, we had the pleasure of witnessing a nail-biting series between Shenandoah University and Florida International University. We watched with bated breath as both sides went back and forth, trading blow for blow, and witnessing some crazy interactions that you would only see in matches between the closest of friends, such as Kip and King Botom. In the end, Shenandoah lost this series 1-2. However, that was not the end of competition for them this week. The University of North Carolina Wilmington found themselves in a pickle, caught between a Pac-Man and a Yoshi for the first round, earning Shenandoah the win. For the second round, we got to see a very strong performance from AJ and Far Rhombus, earning a majority of the stocks in round 2. In the end, Igloo closed out the crew battle, earning a 2-0 victory for Shenandoah, going 1-1 on the week. It's a beautiful here in Winchester, Virginia. I love to see the Shenandoah Arena so active and ready for so many different people to come together and get ready for the exciting week ahead of them. Not only with events like NACAD this weekend, but also with competition. We will be seeing Mossman compete in Tekken 8 this evening, and it will be beautiful stuff all around. I want to also hit on that. Just look at how ready everyone is in the back of house. It makes me so happy that we're getting everything all together, Gavin. It's beautiful stuff. Welcome to the stream. My name is Kevin Clayton. I'm joined by Gavin Eldridge, or Sincere, and we get the absolute pleasure of going through Moss's CFGC Tekken 8 matches. Tell me, Gavin, how are you feeling?
I am feeling fantastic today. Like you said, we have a bunch of big events going on. The arena's kind of popping off right now. It's a good day to be a Hornet.
Oh, yeah. Great day to be a Hornet, baby. And with that, we got to see a little bit of what all the arena had to offer, as well as just sort of the FGC side of things. With Mossman, yes, warming up on the Tekken side, but with the Smash Bros. Players right next to him, some of those players have been picking up Tekken just like for the fun of it, so I have to imagine the audience behind Moss is gonna help out a little bit today. It'll be nice to hear those cheers after the broadcast.
Yeah, I don't blame him at all. Tekken looks like a really fun game to play. Like, it's very flashy and very active, so like I don't blame Smash players for wanting to get into it at all.
Yeah, well, speaking of Smash players, let's take a quick look at this week's schedule, because we got to witness a beautiful match of Smash Bros. Yesterday where the Smash Bros. Varsity team went 2-0 against Ohio Wesleyan with an amazing performance from AJ and Willie in particular, who just kind of tore through the competition. While we did see the Overwatch team go down 0-3 against Florida Tech, it has been a pretty strong week for Shenandoah overall. Even the Rocket League match, despite going down, was against a very strong opponent, and the Rocket League players were very pleased with their performance.
Oh yeah, I talked to them after that match, and they were very, very excited. They said, like, we weren't expecting to do that well at all. You know, we really proved ourselves, made them step up. But a game I want to look at especially is Smash on Thursday against ODU. Tell me about that, Kevin.
Yeah, that's going to be a bit of a fun match for us here, because ODU is relatively close, and that means that a lot of these players know each other beyond just the online space. We're going to see competition at a point where hard reads are going to be made off of pure habits. The kind of stuff we saw between Kip and King Botan just a couple of days ago. When you have people who know each other, competition enters a whole new dimension of mind games. It's beautiful stuff.
Yeah, we get to see hopefully more of those wacky matchups like the DDD against the Pac-Man. That was a lot of fun to watch. Now, let's look at today, right? You know, we got Mossman, who plays primarily Nina. I talked to him before, and he said, like, I need a lot more practice on Clive. You know, it's not feeling, like, up to par right now, so I'm just going to stick to the Nina. But tell me about the other characters today.
Yeah, when it comes to who Moss is going to be playing against, we have a very diverse mix of characters, which is great, but also a little strange for the case of Tekken. A lot of fighting games, you tend to see people stick to one character and maybe pick up a secondary for like occasional matchups. But there's one player named Slowpoke who's going to be playing either Brian, either Lee, or Kazuya, which is a punch character, like brute force your way in, kick character of sorts, and then Kazuya Mishima. Like, it's a Mishima. You're kind of covering all your bases, but there's so much, like, I don't know. It feels difficult to really get into those, like, sides of things.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like, flexibility is always a great thing to have, you know, always being able to, like, play whatever you want. But, like, it is going to be weird for Moss to kind of, like, try and figure out, okay, who am I going to play against this time? Because, you know, there's no champ select or anything where you see the characters beforehand. You just know once you get into game.
Yeah, and especially considering Moss has already made it clear that, yes, the Clive just needs a little bit more time to cook in the oven before it's ready for competition. But don't take my word for it. Let's hear it from the man himself. I believe we have an interview going, so Ben and Moss, take it away. Oh, sorry. My apologies. We ran into a technical difficulty. That is on me. But with all of that being said, it's crazy to think about just how intricate a different play style in Tekken can be, because it feels like you're dealing with everyone fighting with their fists, except for Clive having a giant sword. But like even then, you would expect, okay, if everyone's fighting with their fists, maybe you grew up playing games like Smash Bros. Or something like that. Like, people have different tools ready, but it doesn't, like, people have unique fighting styles while still just pure fisticuffs. It's crazy.
Right, and the biggest thing that, like, if you're a player in Tekken, what you have to encounter, where you have to deal with, is this idea of, okay, you know, we have the Brian who's very kick heavy, so you have to watch out the kicks, you know, you have to watch for these, like, 3 and 4s or whatever. But then you can also have, like, grab-heavy characters. And if someone's able to play one and then switch to the other, it kind of throws off your game style. And this is very different from Smash, where it's like, okay, you have 3 stocks, you know, they can't change characters during competition. You know, here, they can change. Like, 2 weeks ago, we saw Moss randomly pull out the Clive. Like, that was a very jarring thing. And that's something that can happen in Tekken every single time, is that you're not locked into your character. You pick up one game, you're like, oh, I wasn't vibing with that character, and you can switch it up whenever you please.
Yeah, that's a very big aspect of high-level fighting games, is being able to take yourself not only out of the match and give yourself that reset for going into the next game, but also being able to go in with a game plan in mind against a very specific character. We did just receive word that the interview should be working this time around, connection issues aside, so we're going to send it over to Ben and Mossman. Go ahead and take it away, guys.
Thank you so much, Kevin and Gavin. I am joined here by a Mossman, our Tekken player here tonight. First things first, how are we feeling going into tonight's matchups?
I'm feeling fantastic. You know, I was listening to a little bit of old Justin Timberlake over there. I was warming up, laughing a little bit, playing some ranked. I think I'm feeling pretty good.
No, I mean, yeah, Justin Timberlake definitely gets, you know, the spirits up every now and then. So first things first, I want to talk about your character that you play. You play a lot of Nina. What have you learned about this character, and what are you looking to try to improve on and learn going into some of these tough matchups ahead?
I've been leaning a lot on very specific moves that don't work in every situation, and I think that what I have been learning these past 2 weeks is what to do and when to do it, which is very generic response to that question. But I've been leaning, I feel like, a little bit less on specific moves and finding out, you know, how to punish in certain situations. I'm learning a little bit on how to, you know, moves when I have them on the wall. I've been figuring that out, and I think that just comes with time.
No, yeah, for sure. I mean, that is exactly what you want to be doing. You're improving steadily throughout this semester. I know you had a tough seeding pool here to start the season. What are you looking to do to really kind of bounce back and really get some momentum back in your favor?
I think just finally executing what I've learned in like labbing and ranked, because it's one thing to do it in ranked on accident. It's one thing to do it in the lab on purpose. It's another thing to do it in acquisition. And so I think if I can consistently pull off the moves that I've been practicing in ranked and in the lab, I think that will give me a little bit more confidence to keep pushing forward.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you've been doing a great job improving from last semester into this semester as well. It's been great to see you grow. Good luck here tonight. And guys, back to you.
Great stuff here from Mossman. I'm loving to hear that the game plans are finally coming together, especially that little bit at the end about the like wall combos, or like specifically what to do when the opponent starts hitting that wall. It feels like so many characters have such great synergies when they pin up the opponent against the wall. Nina, we have learned, doesn't have a great combo game. Mossman does a great job in the neutral trying to secure that like early stage of the game and will get the opponent to the wall, but you won't see that snowball potential as much as you would see against the Reyna that we saw 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and something to point out with like Mossman specifically is 2 weeks ago, whenever he'd get an opponent up against the wall, it seemed like they were always able to sidestep really easily. So maybe now that Moss is like kind of understanding and starting to put more time into learning how to get off the wall, he can also use that to say, okay, this is how the enemy is going to get off the wall, so I'm going to counter it. You know, he mentioned in the interview that like reactions is a huge thing. And in this game, if you haven't seen it yet, it's going to be like 30 seconds of fighting and then a break. This game is very, very fast-paced, so it's like reactions, but also a lot of intuition. You kind of have to expect what the opponent is going to do. And I thought it was interesting how much he emphasized that.
Yeah, especially with the matchups that Mossman is going to have to be dealing with today. We talked a little bit about that Slowpoke player playing the 3 different characters, but there's also going to be a Clive player and a June player, which are 2 playstyles that you do need to sort of adapt on the fly. You don't go in necessarily with a game like 100% I know exactly what this character is going to do sort of game plan, but you can start your matchup guaranteeing these sort of 50-50 situations and then seeing what the opponent prefers. Then if you're ever sent back into those sorts of awkward 50-50s, you can start making the adaptations. Are they going to keep doing it? Is it a hard habit, or are you going to punish them for it?
Right. Hard habits is a great way to put it. You know, we see a lot of the time in these games, like, again, we're going through 5 rounds. Players often do the same thing over and over and over again. And if you can kind of analyze that and figure it out on the fly, you can start to punish them. But specifically with Clive, Mossman has a Clive. Granted, he said it's not up to practice, but he knows Clive. He pulled it out 2 weeks ago in a match. Looked pretty good on it, I think. So that matchup should be a little easier for him, I would think, just because, you know, you're in the mindset of, I play this character. This is what I want, so you can kind of counter it.
Yeah, especially when you're dealing with a character who can kind of zone you off a little bit. That sword being so big covers so much space that you really do need to be ready for what the opponents have to offer. But beyond that, I do think also it's a matter of just making sure that can you outspace your opponent. Clive is not the kind of character who swings that sword and then it's just like, oh yeah, I swung it and then I'm ready to do whatever immediately after. It's got end lag. Like you have those moments where you need to take a step back and understand, okay, I can't be going for too much here. Yes, this move is doing great. It's doing everything I want. It's keeping them away from me. It slices, it dices, purees, fries, everything and all. And it could be yours for only $5.99. But the big thing is that if you take another step forward after someone goes for that move, the whiff punish game in Tekken is brutal. You get so much.
Yeah, I mean, when you don't have the control, like we said, you know, with Clive specifically, has a bunch of end lag, like you said. So it seems like, oh, he's doing all this. He can keep it going, keep it going. Eventually, Clive runs out of steam, and then he has to take a step back and, like, relax and, like, cool off, you know? Otherwise, yeah, the punish game, like, it's not your turn to have control, or now I can do something different with it. And that's really interesting. Tell me about June.
Yeah, June is a little bit strange for this game because we're talking a character who takes their own health to enhance the damage on their moves, throwing out these little birds that just kind of deal solid amounts of extra damage at the cost of you being a bit more of a glass cannon until you activate Heat. In which case, then you start healing that back. Heat, of course, you have it for the one round, but I feel like you can make a really big difference. You might be dealing with almost 2 health bars with that combination.
And June is different because most characters we usually see start Heat off right away. It's kind of a template thing. They want to do as much damage as possible. And June does the complete opposite. She wants to use it as close to the end of her health bar as possible before she can do the Rage Art as well. So that way she's able to just get a lot of tempo, a lot of free resources essentially. And who doesn't love free?
Yeah, exactly. And on top of that, the weird part about the Rage Art is that if you go down into that health threshold, then your damage, you heal it back, you still have access to the Rage Art if your health goes above that threshold. It's kind of a weird interaction. It won't deal nearly as much damage, but when you are in Rage Art, all of your damage is amplified on all your other combos. It's crazy stuff. So now, as we hop into game here, we will see Mossman starting things off up against the June, who is already getting a very solid combo to start things off, and it is on a stage with very tight walls as we are seeing the pressure build already.
Yeah, and something to note about June, again, like we said, the HP, that doesn't really exist because June can just heal it all back, as we see Moss really struggling to get out of the corner here on this first round.
Yeah, but we do see him secure it for round 1 as Mossman gets a very aggressive call out, beats out the Heat to get a very hard hit, goes for the initial Heat dash off of the hit. The June returning it in stride, but goes for a blocked low, which means Mossman does get the opportunity to hit back. And it's sort of this back and forth game, but man, that Heat reactivation did so much damage.
Yeah, now we have to watch the June with the Rage Art as well. But that was kind of a crazy round. We saw a bunch as the June Rage Art does not connect. But we saw a bunch of these mid combos, really aggressive moves from both players, kind of back and forth.
Yeah, Tacocat definitely showing that they are no easy opponent. Has a great combo game to boot. I mean, we're seeing great starters on practically center stage, getting Moss all the way over to the wall, and now we gotta see, is that practice tool coming in clutch? Can Moss turn the pressure, as we do see here? A very good grab does get both players away from the wall, and Moss is starting to turn it the other way.
Right, back and forth we keep going. Moss keeps going up against this wall, but he manages to get out every single time. Rage Art does not connect here, but again, the grab is huge here.
Yeah, we do see a very nice hit up against the wall, solid amount of damage. We did see June go for the Heat activation, but went for another move that wasn't fast enough. Mossman getting a very solid hit to close things out, taking the lead for this round so far. But now we're starting to see almost a bit of respect from both sides, trying to slow down the pace, but I take it back. Mossman finds his opening and gets that damage rolling.
Yeah, Moss is really putting his foot on the pedal now, just all out here. And something with these rounds is that these rounds have been going really, really close. Both players are on 1 HP in relative terms, so there's a lot of stress that comes into this as well. But Moss clearly not phased at all as he takes this first round.
That was great stuff to start things off. Not only was Moss just keeping that momentum going so early on in these matches, but he found openings in ways I didn't expect. Again, we're talking characters who fight with their fists. You expect them to have to stay close, but that last hit Moss got started on the complete other side of the screen and managed to connect.
Absolutely, and Moss here already starting off with a bang first off, but June has a counter.
Yeah, it does get a very good hit to start things off. Mossman taking the aggressive side of things, jumping back into June's face, and June reactivated her Heat, but Moss hit her out of it. Goes for the grab, gets a couple of good hits. I don't think that'll be enough this time around, but Moss does hit the June on the get-up, which secures the round for Mossman.
The Tekken classic where when you're on the ground, you're not immune to everything. You can still be hit. That was wonderfully played by Moss. Here we go again. Back and forth these players keep going, but it looks like June is about to get Mossman in the corner.
Yeah, we do see a couple of nice highs coming in from the June, just kicking Moss right in the face. But Moss does find another opening. But there's that launcher. Here comes the combo. This June's combo game has been amazing. And the wall extension means that the Heat will be able to extend the combo and secure a very nice round for the June.
Man, this June, once she gets a launcher off, she can just combo off of it to basically anything. It looks like she just keeps it going. So if you're a Mossman, you just want to try and stay away from the launcher, try and prevent it as much as possible. As we see June, once again, launch straight into another launch all the way back at the corner.
Yeah, it seems like this whiff punish game on this June is really coming into effect. Mossman is doing a great job of trying to sort of space out the June, but a couple of misplaced moves have racked up a lot of damage up against him, which means that we may see a potential comeback. Oh my goodness, a very brutal grab, dealing more than, I believe, 20% of that character's health off of just the grab alone. That's crazy.
That's the Heat grab for you, Kevin, apparently. And here we go again. Moss already in the corner, or getting June into the corner. How does he keep her in there?
Yeah, great stuff so far. I mean, just one hit after another. A very quick round at that. Mossman doing a great job of keeping that momentum rolling, and with one more series win, would walk away with the total victory for this round. But keep in mind, we are competing in CFGC. No matter how these next rounds go, all 5 games will be played for seeding purposes.
Yeah, again, and something that we just saw with Moss is that he's looking cool and calm. This game is very, very chaotic, but as long as you keep your cool, you think things through, react properly, you'll be able to win every single round. So I love to see that from him. And here we go into a launcher from Mossman.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of great damage so far, but this June getting a very good mid to start things off, but goes and whiffs the hit. Moss goes for the grab, but the June ducks under it and is going to take a lot of chip damage. And the Nina damage while Heat is active is insane. Even when June was blocking, she was taking a ton of damage.
Yeah, if you're the June here, you kind of have to respect once Mossman triggers that Heat, it just seems like everything is connecting for him in that moment. Here we see June activating her Heat. Oh no, excuse me, she was not activating her Heat.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to see so far. We're talking about this Mossman feels like a very different Mossman than what we saw 2 weeks ago, because we're seeing not only a bit of a new combo game, but it feels like these sort of situations are just very strong. Mossman's finding launchers off of whiffs and other just armored hits. I mean, it's beautiful stuff so far.
Right, and Mossman, again, 2 weeks ago is a long time. I know he's been grinding, he's been putting a lot of time in, and we can really see it here. It seems like he's able to just combo off of anything, these launchers, these grabs. Before, he really emphasized all these grabs and making plays off of that, but now he seems to be much more comfortable with the launchers into specific combos.
Yeah, we do see Moss going for the grab there, but in return, the June techs out of it, but at what cost? June positioning herself really close to the wall means that Moss will get a hit here to send June really close. There's that first hit with the extension off of the wall, which does secure Moss a round. Again, training coming into play.
Yeah, and something that we mentioned before the game started is patience. In that moment, when June was up against the wall, the wall exploded and June got knocked up. Moss took his time, took a second to just, calm down. Don't miss this hit. It was basically a free hit, and I really love to see that he just kind of took a moment and just waited for the hit to come to him.
Oh, it's crazy what happens when you cannot get those combo finishers. I have seen people lose rounds left, right, and center. We saw me lose a round on the broadcast on Monday for that exact reason. So it is great stuff seeing the patience coming out from Mossman as he does take a very aggressive approach, tries to go for it all, but the reversal up against the wall means that we will see a very nice combo. The Rage Art online means that Nina will use it. Mossman getting the connect, and June will take a lot of damage in response.
Yeah, that was a crazy round right there up against the corner. It seemed like June was really low, then she used all of her great health to heal it back, and then Mossman immediately answered the Rage Art to basically just finish the round. It was kind of really close from both sides there.
Yeah, I'm loving what I'm seeing, though. We do see both sides going for those high hits. Oh, very nice, aggressive approach. Able to get a solid combo going, but June caught in the air means that the launcher connects. We get a solid combo. Moss going for the heat dash, able to get a grab off of that, meaning even more damage will be built up. And we are getting very close to that wall.
And now watch the June. As she does have heat, she can potentially heal it all
no!
back, but looks like no, caught jumping the Nina. Or the June just couldn't do anything there.
Yeah, caught on the explosion, but that's the exact situation that we were talking about before. You need to be careful. Just because you have that extension doesn't mean the next part of the combo comes for free. The timing was just a little bit off, and so Mossman does end up still finding the round, but it got very close there.
Very, very lucky indeed. June just needed to have more patience, honestly, and it's hard to say when there's so much going on the screen, but at that moment, you know, you have a free hit if you just take it.
Yeah, we do see Mossman getting a couple of good hits here, trying to bring back the pressure, a couple of good slaps, mixing it up with the low. Does find another opener, immediately goes for the heat re-engage to secure another round. That was beautiful, especially after he's been going for grabs almost every time after those heat dashes. I believe that heat starts off with a low. So if you're expecting the grab, you're expecting, or no, it starts with a mid. So if you're expecting that grab, you want to duck, and then suddenly heat hits you in the face and you're taking tons of damage.
Yeah, and Moss is changing things up, you know, rewriting the script. Usually when we've seen Moss play in the past, he starts immediately with his heat rush. He dashes in, tries to get as much damage as possible in the beginning, but now it seems like he's waiting more to finish it out with the heat, and I love that adaptation from him. You know, he recognizes that June has the potential to heal it all back if Moss starts off early, so he's just taking his time, just waiting with the heat.
And that's a very important skill to understand going into these games, is taking the time to know when you should be using that heat. It feels like it's such an aggressive tool. You get it once every round, it gives you chip damage, it gives you a very nice combo finisher, it gives you all the stuff you need and more. It makes some inputs easier. Like, it feels like it's an aggressive option, but when it comes to gray health, being able to regen so much means that you're giving yourself potentially 2-3 chances of more interactions against the opponent, more times to guess right and then turn the tables on them.
Absolutely. And something that's like with heat, you know, you started off, you have that free hit initially. Like, you can't really get punished from using your heat. Yeah, sure, they can block it, but you still have the priority there. You still can start a combo off of it. So it's also used as an ability of when you're up against the wall, when you're, you know, kind of in a bad situation, you can use as, I need a second, I just need a moment to you know, sidestep out of the way or to dodge out of the way, whatever you need to do. It gives you that option. And when you're using it initially, yeah, it feels good. You know, you put them under pressure. You're like, okay, you're really low now. You have to play safe. But then they can do the same back to you. They have the heat as well. So it's kind of a give and take.
Yeah, and in a game like this where both sides are given those resources on an even playing field in most aspects, it's very important that you go in with that game plan in mind. You were talking about it. Using the heat to try and get some health back against this June, who is going to regen some health of her own. Yes, that means that things are going to be evening out, and Mossman has been finding great openings, which means that if you take your 50-50s, if you're going for these combos over and over, it does feel like Mossman just has those higher odds right now to be closing out these games. He's making the right calls at those right times.
Yeah, and he's switching things up too. I believe in those games we saw tons of different openers from Moss. We saw him open with launches, we saw him open with lows, or even some mids, even some heat activations. You know, always keeping the opponent player like on their toes. You don't want to do the same thing every round, because in like Tekken, everything can be blocked in this game. Yeah. Everything, if you have the reaction, if you expect it coming, it gets blocked, and then bam, you have the priority. But if you keep swapping up, if you're like, I'm going for a high here and then I'm going for a low the next time, they can't expect it, and then you have a 33% chance to block it, and those aren't good odds.
Yeah, exactly. On top of all of that, we're talking about something where a character can really just decide, okay, let's really keep this momentum going. Let's try to find these sorts of openers that can just drag you across the screen. Again, it's good that players start picking up on, okay, these are the sorts of mechanics that I want to learn early on in the game. I think that, like, finding ways to get opponents up against the wall is good. Finding ways to keep them there. It's very important to analyze your defensive options in those sorts of situations. But also, on the other side of that, how do you get out of that? We saw Mossman doing a good job of very deliberately trying to find ways to stay off of the wall.
Yeah, in those like first 4 rounds, it seemed like the June immediately got Mossman on the wall, but there was just some sort of option that Moss had that the June was not expecting, where he was able to get off of it. And you mentioned with like newer players wanting to stick to one moveset, you know, the 3 cores of Tekken, right, is get them in the corner, stay out of the corner, and stay on the ground. The June jumped 1 time, and the 1 time that she did, Moss immediately countered it. So if you're thinking of these things, you know, you want to keep it spicy, essentially. You want to always change up your moveset, do something different every single round, because there's a lot of moves in this game. Nobody knows all the moves for every single character.
Yeah, well, with all that being said, we get to see a little bit of footage from our side. We do see that the stage has changed, favoring Mossman this time around. Very open stage. You won't see too much up against the wall, if anything, as the damage is just racking up. Mossman finding great openers, but the June does a great roll in to try and find a good opening. Does use the heat reactivation, gets a good amount of chip damage, but nothing too crazy, and does have the Rage Art online. Is looking for Mossman to commit to something, but wasn't ready for that flip kick, and a quick dash as well, securing Moss round 1.
That was a very interesting round in the middle there, because it seemed like for about 5 seconds, nothing happened. And that is not normal in Tekken. I was very concerned that we got disconnected on our end or something weird. But the June there activated heat, but didn't get much value of it. So this time now she's activating very early on, but Mossman has a great answer with it.
Yeah, we do see June going for a new move from what we were seeing. A very interesting sort of like spin, like horizontal spin move. It did a solid amount, but Mossman able to sort of get that hit off to close things out. A couple of good kicks means that we see another combo starter. Couple of pistols to get the damage across, but June going for the Rage Art off of the slide kick. That slide kick isn't necessarily a combo starter unless it's on a counter hit, which means that Mossman gets that little bit of chip damage. June goes for the heat, and Moss says, I wasn't going for anything more.
Yeah, he didn't have the controller anymore. You know, he respected that, okay, I'm doing this move, I have a lot of end lag on it, so I just have to take a moment here. And now we see players. Tacocat really wants to get 1 win at least, so he's playing very, very conservatively, but Mossman's trying to put the pressure on. But again, everything in this game can be blocked.
Yeah, I mean, a great launcher from Mossman. Both players managing to find hits. June going for that mid attack and does find the heat dash to start things off. Getting a little bit of chip damage, but Moss following suit. 2 force palms to the face means that a lot of damage will be traded on both sides. Rage Art's online. June goes for a hit, and Moss spaces it perfectly to dodge and connect the hit for a beautiful Rage Art that should close out this round.
Patience, patience, patience. That was incredible. He saw the flip coming. He realized, okay, I have a lot of time here to just back up and activate my Rage Art. And that was crazy to see.
That was beautiful. Any closer and Mossman would have easily taken that hit and probably would have lost that round. And he did have that lead, but even so, that was an aggressive, just well-played, well-planned out just execution, because he would have armored a hit, but I think that the June was ready for it initially, was trying to get Moss on the dash, but the spacing was just beautiful.
Yeah, and something I heard earlier was that Moss has reached a new rank in this game, and you can tell me about that in a second. But you know, when you grind rank this in any game, any competitive game, when you're sitting there in rank, players do things that you don't see every day. And you start to pick up on that. And that was something that we have not seen Mossman do before. We've never seen him step back and just wait. We've never seen him dodge just by the horizontal movement. Sure, we've seen him from sidestepping and blocking and whatnot. But here he completely backed up and said, okay, I'm going to wait a second. And that was honestly great to see.
Yeah, it could just be the Street Fighter in me, but I also think it's visible in all other, just esports in general. If your opponent is willing to give you the time to breathe, sometimes it is worth it to just accept that fact. Both of you shake hands, take a moment to analyze what's happening before committing to anything else. Believe me, time is a valuable resource in these sorts of games. You're not given a lot of it, so if your opponent's willing to give you that time to think things through, sometimes it's worth it to take it.
Yeah, and that was kind of weird in that last round, or the last game, we saw the players take a lot of time. It seemed like the first 4 games, there was a lot of action. You know, they were constantly hitting each other, going back and forth. But this time it was like, okay, your combo's done. Give me a second. Like, it seemed like probably half the game, we were basically just watching them on opposite ends of the screen, just looking at each other and trying to wait for someone else to make the first move, you know, but clearly Moss won out there.
Yeah, so I do think that speaks to the level that Moss has hit. On that note, you mentioned it a little bit earlier, we did get word that Moss has hit the blue ranks of Tekken 8, which is about the top 30% of the ranked player base, with the rank alone, like just that rank of blue. I believe it's cut into 3 divisions. Let me double check. 4 divisions, excuse me. But even so, that one division in the blue ranks that he's in holds about 9% of the player base. Like, if he climbs past that point, even just barely, we're going from top 30 to effectively top 20.
Yeah.
That is a crazy jump. And he's getting with the big boys.
Yeah, and if we look at like rank disparity as an idea and stuff, it's very like bottom heavy. Obviously, you know, first 50% is like the 3 ranks or whatever, however you want to read it. But also in the blue rank, or in any rank in particular, once you get into it, you're like at the top 6 or like 6% in that one. You know, 6% of the players are like in the 0 to 99, but then from the 100 to the 500 or whatever you need to get to the next rank, that's like only 2% of it. So if you can just win like 2 or 3 games, he's already ahead of like 6% of the blue player base.
Yeah, and I mean, from what we saw just now, I think he's got it.
He's got game, yeah. I mean, like he looked great that game. And of course, we have 2 more matches very soon coming up as well. But in that game, it seemed like he kind of changed his, not necessarily his play style. You know, he was playing very aggressively, playing for a lot of these grabs. But it seemed like he had a different mindset. Obviously, you know, he said that he was listening to Justin Timberlake and he was feeling himself because of that. But it seemed like he had a lot more patience about him. He didn't really like react when it didn't go his way. You know, we didn't see him like do all of these like outlandish things like, I can't believe that hit me, so I'm going to go for a straight punish like immediately. We saw him be very relaxed and calm about it.
And that's what you need. It is a need in a fighting game for you to take the time to analyze. You cannot play aggressive and try to just brute force your way through things, especially any game with a block. You should not be playing aggressive 24/7. And if you haven't noticed, I'd say 99% of games allow you to block.
Yeah, and in this game specifically, there's a whole lot of blocking that happens. I mean, like, we see probably 85% of the moves just do not connect at all.
Yeah, it's great stuff. Well, we are getting a bit of a word between matches that we are going to take a quick interview with some Moss fans. It looks like the Smash Bros. Team has been backing the Moss man during these matches, so I think we're going to hear some words from them on how they're feeling. Take it away.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the arena. In our downtime, I got our varsity Smash Bros. Team with me here. I got David here on my right. I got AJ and Kyle joining me as well. Guys, let's go down the line here. How's your day been?
Oh, it's been great. I've just been practicing all day, been with the team, and just really been getting to get good with my character. So.
Well, you're very, very good with your character. AJ, how about you?
I've had a lot of classes today, but after that I was getting some representing with the academy team. We got some talented players down there too. Looking forward to seeing what they can do.
For sure. We have a very good, I think is this their practice time right now? So yeah, if you pan over, we have a good little section here for our Super Smash Bros, and they are absolutely jamming right now. Let's travel with them, shall we? Let's travel, guys. Kyle, come this way. You're next up on the list. I don't know if we're messing up the camera at all because we're in the little bit of the way, but hey, Kyle, you're our Pac-Man god here, right? Do any of these guys play Pac-Man?
On our roster? No. Unfortunately, do not for Pac-Man. No.
Well, do you want them to play Pac-Man?
By the rules of our leagues, I don't think we can.
Yeah, hold it up to, this is our receiver. if you were curious. And this, if this is covered, it really messes up our audio. But that's all right. We still got everything in there. But yeah, do we want to, like, let's see, who do they play? Banjo? We have a banjo on our team? No? What's happening here? Hey, let's dive in. Let's dive in here real quick. Hey, all right, guys, let's go. This is Trip. This is one of our academy players.
Hi, Ben.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you, Ben?
I'm doing great. I'm doing absolutely wonderful. We're on a little bit of a break here with the main broadcast. And hey, here's Moss as well, who is on the break right now. Yeah, I'll stop distracting them. I know they're in practice right now. I probably shouldn't have done that. But hey, Moss.
Hey,
how
are we doing?
how are you doing right now?
I'm doing pretty good. That was a really clean match the first go around. Caught me off guard because the player just knew like one very strict combo and it got me, and I was like, what am I doing? I gotta wake up. I woke up, thankfully. But I just wanted to say, shout out Grandma.
Of course.
Shout out our producer and our director back there. They told me to come over here and bomb the interview, so here I am. Yeah.
Was my interviewing bad?
No,
was it not good? Okay, that's good.
Yeah,
well, I'm glad it was great.
We're having fun here because right now we have a couple communication difficulties right now. So we're just waiting to see what's going on here. I'm going to go stay warm, though, for the most part. Try to make sure I'm ready to go. For my 2 matches, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you have 2 more left to go here. Go stay warm. Thank you, guys, the Smash team, for our little interview, a mock interview-ish, I guess. Yeah, claps all around here. I'm going to toss it back to, I guess, an ad break. I don't know what we're going to go to, but we'll go to something, guys. Thanks for joining us. Goodbye.
Back.
Well,
I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for that.
hey, let Ben cook, I guess, because, I mean, we kind of saw an interview. It's like, okay, like, this is different, but, like, whatever, go for it. And then he took it and spun it in his own way.
Yeah, he did good. Getting everybody's thoughts and opinions, talking with the Smash team, sitting right next to Moss, man, kind of bringing that energy. It's shared between the teams, It's not necessarily limited because of the game that you play. Everyone's here to have fun. And I think we witnessed that just now.
Yeah, and something that's kind of good about sitting next to Smash, I guess good or bad, depending on how you think of it, is that their vibes are very high. They have great energy. They're always in great moods. They just love playing the game. And, sometimes they might be singing and it might frustrate you a little bit, but it's always a good time to sit next to them.
Oh, yeah. I mean, every time we see the Smash Bros. Team, I feel like they're coming up with something new. I mean, we see it on replays. We see it on the camera. We see it during intervals where we're on the roaming cam, and suddenly they're blown away by something that happens, or Kip recoiling in his chair as someone gets hit by a hydrant that probably shouldn't connect. It's fun to see that energy, especially in a fighting game, which can be very tilting. It's a very big mental game, so to kind of have that environment to kind of lighten the vibes definitely helps.
Yeah, I mean, the vibes here are great, but it seems like right now we are going to go to an ad break, I believe, just because, we're waiting on some communication issues. So don't go anywhere, and we'll be back very soon.
Shenandoah University is a big little university rising.
With 22 Division III sports teams, over 200 areas of study,
over 300 annual performances, an elite academic esports program,
nationally ranked health professions programs, one of the biggest university presences on Broadway,
immersive AR and VR learning programs,
cybersecurity and computer science programs, and innovative undergrad and graduate programs.
all at a place that cares for you.
Shenandoah University is the big little university rising. Find out more at su.edu/rising.
We have the esports arena right here on campus in Winchester, Virginia, and this facility acts as the hub for all esports activity at Shenandoah University. Students are able to use this space not just for competition and practices, but also as a living learning community and a sandbox for them to come and explore and practice and try out things related to and through esports in the gaming industry, so that they're getting that hands-on learning and the skills necessary to help them find a career by the time they graduate. We also have the professional level broadcast production booth, where we do all of our broadcasting and production, from casting of our games that we play right here on campus to working with outside entities to record footage for them as well. In addition to the space that we have here in the esports arena is the esports war room. Our students get to use that space for studying, but also outside projects. So our students get to use this space for professional development and the academic side of our esports program, which is such a critical component to go with that competitive element that we have. So we combine all of our facilities at Shenandoah University with competition, community, and career preparation. We have over 250 days of programming, and there's something for everybody, and we want you to be part of it.
We are back with a bit of a new segment as we are going to try a couple of new things over the week for Shenandoah's esports broadcast. Specifically, if you watched the broadcast yesterday, we got to mess with the telestrator, but that's not the only exciting new thing that's on this desk. Mossman is here.
Hello, everybody. I've made my way over from my setup to the desk. I'm feeling great right now.
That's good. That's great. I love to hear it. It is so exciting to have you on the desk for this in particular, because we're going to break down a couple of clips that we saw in the last match that I just kind of want to hear your thoughts about, just a little bit on the sort of game plan and stuff like that. You ready to take it in?
Yes, I am.
Alrighty, so let's do this. Starting things off, we got to see a very beautiful performance by you where you were dealing with the wall combos. You have said in the past that the wall isn't necessarily the spot that you prefer to find your opponents, but that you have started to implement more of these wall combos as we started to see. So I'm curious, where do you start like finding your openings in these sorts of situations? Like, do you have to take the time to start your combo? You seem to almost wait a second in the initial hit. You kind of wait before you go for that kick move.
I wait usually just to make sure my input is correct.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's usually why I wait, because like I miss input a lot, and you'll see it on the stream. But I usually just wait a second, and I think that one I was almost like hesitant on what I was gonna do there. But yeah,
I mean that move connects so incredibly high. I'm going to see if I can slow things down going back here for a second, because, I mean, obviously that launcher sends so incredibly high up for that next hit. Obviously, you know, you're recoiling a little bit back here. But with all of that, I do want to... Sorry, I am still very new at this, still trying to get ready with all of these tools. But if we go forward just a little bit slower, I want to acknowledge just how you go for a high hit up here, and it seems to combo. Do you have more of a combo game off of that? Are you able to just keep that string going, maybe get them up against the wall again, or is it just a one and done?
Usually when I use this move right here, it's quarter circle forward 3. Usually when I use this move, it's because I've already launched them or they're already being juggled. And this is kind of my ender, because what I'm doing here is I'm trying to send this character to the wall, because this is usually followed up by my 1-2 forward, which kind of sends them.
The pistol move.
Yes, the pistol move where I start sending them forward. So, and plus this is so that's my starter. So it's just kind of doing it off of muscle memory.
Gotcha. Well, let's take a look at another clip here. If we move things forward, we should see that we get to see your Rage Art connection. This call out was beautiful in and of itself. I want to see the rest of the clip here, because I don't believe that this one kills. This move that you go for, because we're talking about this, you cover a lot of space with that. We're talking something crazy big here, where you just, like, that's a lot of space. It is crazy to see. I'm gonna go forward a little bit. Again, apologies for everyone back home. I'm still getting used to this. But we do see right here. I mean, that's a lot of space.
It's a lot like Kimberly's slide move that you say you have trouble with in Street Fighter. Honestly, in Tekken, especially with Nina, who you would think that a lot of her stuff is like close range, especially if you don't know the character very well. But this specific move is very good because you can start it really quickly. Yeah, you can do it pretty quickly, and like especially when someone's off get up, a lot of the time, especially less experienced players will just not expect that low, especially coming from so far away in a game like Tekken.
Yeah, I mean it just covers so much, and it looks like, I mean, it could just be the way that that move connects there. We're seeing that she is a little bit airborne sort of leading into it. I'm wondering if she was trying to call out that slide and go a little bit higher, trying to maybe go for some follow-up. But that move comes out so quick. I mean, looking back on it, just that alone at full speed is insane, just how valuable it is just right out the gate.
Yeah. Usually the best counter to that is just a low parry.
Oh.
You get up, you crouch immediately as fast as possible, then you just low parry it, and then from there you can combo me as much as you want.
Yeah, well, keeping on the topic of that move, we got to see another opportunity. Again, we're talking large space here, just overall giant area. I just want to acknowledge how crazy it is that you were able to take advantage, go for the run forward, and then bait out that rage art. Is that slide move comboable, or did you just get that little bit of chip damage and respect the rage art?
That slide move is a lot of the time either when they only need a little bit of damage done to them to end that round, or when they have just to make them respect the lows, because I can do it from so far away.
Yeah.
So it's usually I'm working space there. I'm trying to get up a little bit closer. If I'm doing it, I am calling out the fact that they aren't blocking low at all. Usually if I don't hit it, then they either blocked it or I just was a little too far away and I didn't read it very well.
I mean, it is great stuff to see all around. I love immediately going for that grab, getting that secure damage. A lot of people try to go for crazy stuff. But with all of that being said, I do believe that we are going to try and get you back into the match side of things. So thank you so much, Mossman, for joining me on the desk here, because it was kind of fun breaking down these clips going through with our new little telestrator.
It was very fun.
Yeah, so with all of that, I'm ready to see you get back into the competition mindset and rock and roll. Best of luck.
Thank you.
And we will cut to a quick break before getting right back into the action.
Shenandoah University is a big little university rising.
With 22 Division III sports teams, over 200 areas of study,
Over 300 annual performances, an elite academic esports program,
Nationally ranked health professions programs, one of the biggest university presences on Broadway.
immersive AR and VR learning programs,
Cybersecurity and computer science programs, and innovative undergrad and graduate programs.
all at a place that cares for you.
Shenandoah University is the big little university rising. Find out more at su.edu/rising.
We have the esports arena right here on campus in Winchester, Virginia, and this facility acts as the hub for all esports activity at Shenandoah University. Students are able to use this space not just for competition and practices, but also as a living learning community and a sandbox for them to come and explore and practice and try out things related to and through esports in the gaming industry, so that they're getting that hands-on learning and the skills necessary to help them find a career by the time they graduate. We also have the professional level broadcast production booth, where we do all of our broadcasting and production, from casting of our games that we play right here on campus to working with outside entities to record footage for them as well. In addition to the space that we have here in the esports arena is the esports war room. Our students get to use that space for studying, but also outside projects. So our students get to use this space for professional development and the academic side of our esports program, which is such a critical component to go with that competitive element that we have. So we combine all of our facilities at Shenandoah University with competition, community, and career preparation. We have over 250 days of programming, and there's something for everybody. And we want you to be part of it.
are back. So sorry for all of these delays, but when dealing with the FGC scene, you can understand that all of the players tend to take a little bit of a lax approach, and that is understandable. We are all a very chill community, but that does mean that on occasion we do find ourselves filling a little bit of time. With all of that being said, it does sound like Mossman is ready to get back into things. My name is Kevin Clayton. I am joined by Gavin Eldridge, also known as Sincere. And I gotta ask, between the break and seeing Moss kind of break down those clips, just kind of how are you feeling after those first rounds?
I mean, Moss's insight was really good. Like, you kind of dive into what he thinks about the game, you know, because everyone always has a different interpretation of it. So I thought it was very good, and your guys' breakdown was very insightful. I personally could never do anything like that, so I'm very glad that he kind of took the reins on that.
All good here. Well, we will be able to see a little bit more of the action for Mossman is getting into game up against Slowpoke. The Kazuya this time around, a very good player on this Kazuya, but is eating a lot of damage to start things off. Going for those crouch dashes, oh my goodness, a very aggressive approach, but the heat engage does get Moss a little bit of momentum as he's going for that wall. Does that break it? No, it doesn't. Moss is going to deal a solid amount of damage, but I don't think it'll be enough this time around as the Kazuya is getting a lot of great damage back onto the Nina and is able to take round one.
Yeah, we here at SU were very, very comfortable with the Kazuya. You know, we see him on Smash all the time. Here we go already with the Electric Thunderfish into a big combo into the wall for the Nina, which is not very good for her.
Yeah, I mean, I'm loving what I'm seeing, that all these players are very good about getting one good starter center stage and dragging it to the wall. This Kazuya finding great opportunities to start things off, going for that kick move, trying to get a bit of a counter hit, but nothing too crazy. Instead, taking their time, sees Moss go for a dash back and sort of says, what are you, like, that doesn't do anything for me, what should I care?
Yeah, patience. Here we see Moss get him up against the wall. Let's see if he can actually break the wall or anything. And here we go. So the combo continuer, that's a guarantee hit there. You cannot miss that that hit once they're through the wall. You know, it pops them up immediately, and you can kind of just do whatever you want from there.
Yeah, but we do see Mossman on the launcher on the new stage, and I do think Moss has great options to break the floor as well, but so does Kazuya Mishima. We don't see the heat starter to do just that. Instead, going for the two punches, trying to use the heat dash. Kazuya in that devil form, getting a lot of extra value, and I'm expecting to see some crazy electric combos as well, especially when you're crouch dashing like that. A very good launcher will get a couple of hits, and there's those electrics out of the blue.
Yeah, I mean, Moss is like, not much I can do when, you know, when he can chain all of those electric fits together really well. You know, you just get launched in the air, it feels like you can never get down. And as we say in Tekken, like, it's really bad to be in the air.
Yeah, and in this game in particular, let's acknowledge, electric is a great move. Electric Wind God Fist does everything that you want in a move, but it is very difficult to get off, as we do see that this Kazuya is ranked a God of Destruction, which I believe is in the top percentages of the player base. I mean, we are talking crazy high numbers. The 0.48% of the player base has hit that rank, and we're seeing why. Look at all this damage he's putting on, but Moss trying to return it in stride, going for that dash move once again, but Kazuya with one combo starter into the electric, keeping the string going. 3 of the same move, going for the laser, it's not enough, but Moss goes for an extended leg combo and is able to find the final hit.
Man, Moss there, it was like, wow, I just can't get off the ground, but Kazuya was also not doing any damage. So the second Kazuya dropped that combo, which looked like it did a lot from like a viewer perspective, Moss just was able to counter it and immediately end the round. But that has to be something to be afraid of if you're Mossman. Kazuya just chained 4 of those combos together and Moss had no impact whatsoever.
Yeah, Moss is definitely finding good openings, but there's that Rising God Fist or something along those lines, because it just keeps you in place for just a little too long, and it manages to get crazy combos like that. This Kazuya's combo game is beautiful, and he's getting so much off of just one opening.
Yeah, and Moss kind of changed it up the second round. You know, round 1 he kind of got He lost, obviously, but round 2 now he's opening with the heat smash specifically to try and do as much damage as possible. As we see the Kazuya get a huge stun off here.
Yeah, I mean, that was beautiful. Again, Moss going for that move, but Kazuya dashing into the foreground gets a little bit more momentum off of it. But again, Moss caught swinging at the wrong time means that Kazuya gets a good counter hit in and will get another beautiful combo. We do see a great opener trying to use that heat to get the engage, but the dash into the foreground again is just offering so much value for this Kazuya. One electric into the string all the way up to the wall. Here comes the damage. Almost a third of Moss's health off of one combo, and he is not done yet.
This Kazuya is absolutely on one right now. We have not seen someone sidestep out and in so much just like this Kazuya did. Every single time it seems like Moss has a second to kind of get his combo going, the Kazuya just immediately steps into the foreground or steps into the background or even steps back to neutral. Whatever it is, Moss cannot keep up with it. So he has to take a second. He has to realign himself with the game and how it's played from like a fundamental standpoint with these side steps and try and predict where it's coming.
I think a lot of players don't utilize the foreground and the background until you reach a high enough level in Tekken, but characters have tools to deal with it, especially Nina, who has these hand slap moves. If Moss can call out that Kazuya is going to dash into either the foreground or the background, we could see just those hands covering all options. I don't believe they're plus on block. It would be a very aggressive call out, but nevertheless, it could offer a ton of value as we hop into the next game. Kazuya going for the electric, but immediately armored. Gets the grab, but Moss finding himself with the grab break up against the wall. A very dangerous spot to be in.
Yeah, and Moss is really trying to be super aggressive here. He opened with double heat smash, but immediately the Kazuya just has an absolutely crazy counter to Moss's whole combo going. And here we go again. Just seems like Moss can never get back on the ground.
Yeah, we do see those hand slaps coming into play, but it's not doing as much as I thought it would. I could have sworn that would have been the answer, dealing with your opponent in the foreground and the background, but this Kazuya is ducking under the move. It must be a high that is going to just provide so much value because Kazuya is able to duck it and has great options from rising. Kazuya getting a good heat dash in, going for a couple of crash dashes in the face, and Moss caught again in a very awkward spot and loses the round.
Yeah, Moss just needs to take a second here. You know, he has to relax. He keeps getting caught by these stuns, and here we go. We see that he took about 3 seconds, so this should be his round. He immediately activates the heat and tries to get something going.
Yeah, we do see electrics coming out. Again, that move where Kazuya takes his foot and sort of flings it in your face. That move is not very minus on block. Kazuya can keep his turn going if he so chooses, but this time around, we see the Twin Pistons able to get a good amount of damage. 3 jabs into the electric, couple of crouch dashes, gets the launcher, goes for another Dragon Fist, and just keeps the damage rolling.
Man, this Kazuya just has so much initiative over the controller. It seems like every single time that he gets blocked, the Kazuya has an answer to it. Moss can never really get a time to go in unless he gets that first hit off, and that's the most important thing. He has to get the first hit off and try and do a whole combo to go 100-0, or maybe even the 50%, then you get another chance to go back in.
Yeah, you need to give your opponent the respect they deserve. A lot of these moves that Kazuya is throwing out are moves that are plus on block, or at the very least, relatively even. Moss is using the power crushes to try and gain that momentum back, trying to call out Kazuya for going for those moves that tend to be a little bit more safe. But again, going for the grab that sends Moss to the other side of the wall if Kazuya breaks out. It's a very dangerous spot, but using the dash into the foreground this time. Taking what Kazuya has been doing it and turning it against him.
The sign of a good player is learning what other players do to beat you. And right there, just dashing into the foreground, and here we see Kazuya wins out on it. I was not actually expecting that, but again, just Moss been able to dodge into the foreground, kind of, you know, give Kazuya back the medicine here.
Yeah, and that's what it needs to be, is a lot of patient game, understanding, trying different stuff. If you aren't familiar with your answers for this matchup, that's okay, but you can't be going for the same thing over and over. This time around, the grab does connect this time, and it does secure a good hit for Mossman, turning him around against Slowpoke.
Yeah, and it seems like just from watching this game is Nina does a lot more damage than the Kazuya. It seems like Kazuya is able to string together these long combos of like 15, 20 jabs, but it only does like 25%. If Moss gets like 4 hits in a row, it's banned 50%, and we just saw it right there. All these little moves that Kazuya is doing don't do that much, but if Moss gets a single opening to just unload onto him, the Kazuya loses so much HP.
Yeah, and on top of that, the way Kazuya is utilizing his heat so far in this match has been beautiful. Using the momentum to sort of dash around this Nina game plan, as well as just keeping that electric momentum, not feeling the pressure to burn the reactivation early. Instead, look how he keeps Nina up against this wall. Goes for the heat reactivation on the wall, goes for a very strong hit with the grab, goes for a quick punch, the heat dash into a perfect, and Slowpoke secures another series for himself. One more left, but Mossman did find a round.
Yes, absolutely, he did. And that round that he did, it would seem that Kazuya was kind of caught sleeping. Moss was able to put out so much damage immediately and then had one opening to do the finishing move. So we'd love to see that more from him, but the Kazuya seems to have these blocks and these sidesteps on point.
Yeah, I'm loving what I'm seeing. Going for another grab. Kazuya does get hit by the first, but is able to break out of the chain grab. We do see a very good opener trying to dash into the foreground, keeping Kazuya up against the wall. Kazuya doing a good job not swinging back, trying to hold that block game, and it does get Mossman back into the center side of the stage as both players are going for their next couple of hits.
Yeah, man, this Kazuya has so much patience there. Moss was doing these dash attacks over and over into the wall, and Kazuya just held his block. Moss in that moment just needs to take a second to realize, okay, he's just holding the middle block. He needs to go for some lows there, but it's so hard when you're so invested into your one combo like we see this Kazuya.
Yeah, and on top of that, I mean, Mossman found great opportunities to just keep that pressure going. Any of those connect, break the wall. Moss may have been able to secure that round, but Kazuya doing a great job of recognizing that, recognizing the game plan Moss wanted, and in exchange, it leads to wins like these. A very strong performance from Slowpoke.
Yeah, I mean, this character, I believe this is the guy that we talked about, had 3 different character options. So clearly he's very comfortable in a bunch of different scenarios with different characters, and just seems like every single time Moss tries something different, the Kazuya has an answer to it.
Yeah, we do see Mossman going for a quick hit, does find a great combo at the cost of about half the gauge, goes for the heat dash, goes for the grab, but finds himself broken out and up against the wall, does get the advantage, gets a good amount of chip damage going, and finds that crouch slide that we were talking about earlier to secure a round.
Man, I was kind of scared there too, because once Moss goes for that grab and gets countered, he's up against the wall, but it seems like the Kazuya can, recognize that he didn't have the moment right there, so he took some time, but Moss was able to string forward a beautiful combo to end that round.
Yeah, it does seem like this Kazuya is very aggressive when it comes to trying to keep the momentum going, not blocking low. Understandably so. You don't find yourself crouching a lot in Tekken unless you have a purpose, maybe to find a wall rising attack. But because of that, we see just how valuable a standing Mishima is, as the heat initiation offers so much, and Mossman does go down in the series.
Yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned that. We don't see characters crouch that much as we see Kazuya literally crouch dashing across the entire arena in that final round. Obviously Moss kind of bummed out about losing 5-0. Obviously it's never fun. But as a reminder, this is for seeding purposes. You had to play all 5 rounds because of that. We weren't just playing for it for show. It does matter in the end with the MMR, with the bracket, however it looks. But now Moss has one more game. I don't remember who it is against. Do you recall?
Clive.
Oh, the Clive. The newest character in Tekken. Now, this guy. I don't know much about Tekken, but I know that this guy has a big sword, and he loves to use it. So tell me more about it, Kevin.
Yeah, we're talking about a character who definitely has a bit of that DLC factor going on, but not necessarily inherent. It's a lot of playing this sort of slower tempoed game, at least in my experience. Coming from an RPG, you do kind of see the parallels. Clive kind of will take his time, look for a sort of launch opening, trying to get that big hit off of the sword to potentially launch the opponent off the ground, and then go for a couple of melee hits and finish it off with some magic.
Yeah, and with Clive especially, he has a lot of options. You know, he came from an RPG, so he has a sword, he has the melee hits, he has, you know, these magic moves as well, and he's a very flashy character. But it seems like Clive can always change up what he does. You know, with Nina, with Moss specifically, we always see him do kind of the same thing. You know, he starts a combo, then ends it with a grab. Clive can, you know, start a combo, end it with a magic. He can end it with a sword hit. He can end it with basically whatever he wants, because this character just has so many different options and variants to his playstyle or to his moveset.
Yeah, and that is so incredibly important. If you have a great mixed game, you can usually control the tempo of the match. I think we saw in the first round that Mossman played, when he controls the tempo, it tends to fall into his favor. On the other side of that, against that Kazuya, it's very clear that Kazuya was setting the pace of that match the entire time, and we saw just how pressurizing that can be. You can play to your opponent's tempo. There are characters who very deliberately find their openings off of what the opponent likes to do. Characters who are usually bigger, you know, your Jack 8s of the world and stuff like that, maybe your Kumas, but all of that being said, I do think that if you have that sort of tempo-based game plan with Clive, it could spell trouble for Mossman unless he's ready.
Yeah, and again, like, Moss knows how to play Clive. He doesn't want to pull it out, which I think would be a lot of fun to see a mirror matchup, you know, but he says that he's not fully comfortable enough to play it in competition, but he knows what this character wants to do. So I expect Moss to kind of change up what he's going to do this time on the Nina. You know, maybe he'll do some combos that we've never seen before, because he's like, hey, like, Clives don't like this. Maybe he's seen it in ranked, or maybe he's played against Ninas on the Clive as well. So, you know, I don't know. We'll have to see. Yeah, well, we did just receive word that the third match will not be played on this stream. It sounds like it will need to be rescheduled. Very unfortunate, but still a very strong showing from Mossman today. Able to take a round off of a Tekken, I believe, what was it? The highest rank, a God of Destruction is the name. Understandably so. That was a very scary Mishima. I mean, it was 2 rounds total, to be fair. Yeah. And I mean, they both looked really strong. Even in the rounds that he lost, like, it seems like, you know, he had openings. Like, he had the moments, you know, he was starting to do those side steps that we see from good players, that they adapt from better players or maybe different players. Like, they take their play style and kind of use it against them. And we saw that a lot. So a lot of shining lights from Moss. Yeah, great stuff overall. It sounds like we heard 3 rounds, especially from the Moss Man himself, making sure that we are not selling him short. He wants to make sure that that is abundantly clear, and understandably so. But with all of that being said, we are going to see Mossman going into the regular season now, seeding decided and all. This is where your adaptations need to be secured, and this means now we saw a bit of that today, and I personally look forward to seeing more of that in the future. Absolutely. It seems like Moss from 2 weeks ago to now changed up a lot of his playstyle. Maybe not changed it, but definitely had more options and more variance in it, which is very good in a fighting game such as this. So I'm like, you know, things are looking good for him, I think. Yeah, it'll be an exciting season, and if you want to see more of what Mossman has to offer, feel free to drop a follow on all of our socials, and be sure to stick around going forward, because there are going to be a ton of great matches, not only this week, but the weeks going forward. With all of that being said, my name is Kevin Clayton. I'm joined by Gavin, aka Sincere, and we will see you all next time.
Shenandoah University is a big little university rising.
With 22 Division III sports teams, over 200 areas of study,
over 300 annual performances, an elite academic esports program,
nationally ranked health professions programs, one of the biggest university presences on Broadway,
immersive AR and VR learning programs,
cybersecurity and computer science programs, and innovative undergrad and graduate programs.
all at a place that cares for you.
Shenandoah University is the big little university rising. Find out more at su.edu/rising.
We have the esports arena right here on campus in Winchester, Virginia, and this facility acts as the hub for all esports activity at Shenandoah University. Students are able to use this space not just for competition and practices, but also as a living learning community and a sandbox for them to come and explore and practice and try out things related to and through esports in the gaming industry, so that they're getting that hands-on learning and the skills necessary to help them find a career by the time they graduate. We also have the professional level level broadcast production booth where we do all of our broadcasting and production, from casting of our games that we play right here on campus to working with outside entities to record footage for them as well. In addition to the space that we have here in the esports arena is the esports war room. Our students get to use that space for studying, but also outside projects. So our students get to use this space for professional development and the academic side of our esports program, which is such a critical component to go with that competitive element that we have. So we combine all of our facilities at Shenandoah University with competition, community, and career preparation. We have over 250 days of programming, and there's something for everybody, and we want you to be part of it.
There's so much, like, I don't know. It feels difficult to really get into those, like, sides of things.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like, flexibility is always a great thing to have, you know, always being able to, like, play whatever you want. But, like, it is going to be weird for Moss to kind of, like, try and figure out, okay, who am I going to play against this time? Because, you know, there's no champ select or anything where you see the characters before and you just know once you get into the game. Like, you're not locked into your character. You pick it one game, you're like, oh, I wasn't vibing with that character, and you can switch it up whenever you please.
Yeah, that's a very big aspect of high-level fighting games, is being able to take yourself not only out of the match and give yourself that reset for going into the next game, but also being able to go in with a game plan in mind against a very specific character.
Nina, what have you learned about this character, and what are you looking to try to improve on and learn going into some of these tough matchups ahead?
I've been leaning a lot on very specific moves that don't work in every situation, and I think that what I have been learning these past 2 weeks is what to do and when to do it, which is very generic response to that question, but I've been leaning, I feel like, a little bit less on specific moves and finding out, you know, how to...
Yes, this move is doing great. It's doing everything I want. It's keeping them away from me. It slices, it dices, purees, fries, everything and all. And it could be yours for only $5.99. But the big thing is that if you take another step forward after someone goes for that move, the whiff punish game in Tekken is brutal. You get so much. The pressure build already.
Yeah, and something to note about June, again, like we said, you know, the HP, like, that doesn't really exist because June can just heal it all back, as we see Moss really struggling to get to watch the June with Rage Art as well. But that was kind of a crazy round. You know, we saw a bunch, as the June Rage Art does not connect, but we saw a bunch of these mid every single time. Rage Art does not connect here, but again, the grab is huge here.
Yeah, we do see a very nice hit up against the wall, solid amount of damage. We did see June
out here. And something with these rounds is that these rounds have been going really, really close. Like, both players are on like 1 HP in relative terms, so there's a lot of stress that comes into this as well. But Moss clearly not phased at all as he takes this first round.
That was great stuff to start things off. Not only was Moss just keeping space, and June reactivated her heat, but Moss hit her out of it. Goes for the grab, gets a couple of good hits. I don't think that'll be enough this time around, but Moss does find another opening. But there's that launcher. Here comes the combo. This June's combo game has been amazing, and the wall extension means that the heat will be able to trying to sort of space out the June, but a couple of misplaced moves have racked up a lot of damage up against him, which means that we may see a potential comeback.
Kevin, apparently. And here we go again. Moss already in the corner, or getting June into the corner. How does he keep her in there?
Yeah, great stuff so far. I mean, just a hit. Moss goes for the grab, but the June ducks under it and is going to take a lot of chip damage. And the Nina damage while he do combo game, but it feels like these sort of situations are just very strong. Mossman's finding launchers off of with really close to the wall means that Moss will get a hit here to send June really close. There's that first hit with the extension off of the wall, which does secure Moss a round. Again, training coming into play. To connect, and June will take a lot of damage in response.
Yeah, that was a crazy round right there up against the corner. It seemed like June was really low, then she used all of her great health to fall back, but looks like no, caught jumping the Nina, or the June just couldn't do anything there.
Yeah, caught on the explosion, but that's the exact situation that we were talking. Yeah, we do see Mossman getting a couple of good hits here, trying to bring back the pressure, a couple of good slaps, mixing it up with the low. does find another opener. Immediately, heat reactivation gets a good amount of chip damage, but nothing too crazy, and does have the Rage Art online. Is looking for Mossman to commit to something, but wasn't ready for that flip kick. And see another combo starter, couple of pistols to get the damage across, but June going for the Rage Art off of the slide kick. That slide kick isn't necessarily a lot of damage, will be traded on both sides. Rage Art's online, June goes for a hit, and Moss spaces it perfectly to dodge and connect the hit for a beautiful Rage Art that should close out this round.
Patience, patience, patience. That was incredible. He saw the flip coming. He realized, okay, I have a lot of time here to just back up and activate my Rage Art.
With the rank alone, like just that rank of blue, I believe it's cut into 3 divisions. Let me double check. 4 divisions, excuse me. But even so, that one division in the blue ranks that he's in holds about 9% of the player base. Like, if he climbs past that point, even just barely, we're going from top 30 to effectively top 20.
How are you doing right now?
I'm doing pretty good. That was a really clean match the first go around. Caught me off guard because the player just do like one very strict combo and it got me, and I was like, what am I doing? I gotta wake up. I woke up, thankfully. But I just wanted to say, shout out Grandma. Shout out our producer and our director back there. They told me to come over here and bomb the interview, so here I am.
Go stay warm. Thank you guys, the Smash team, for our little interview, a mock interview-ish, I guess.
No, it doesn't. Moss is going to deal a solid amount of damage, but I don't think it'll be enough this time around, as the Kazuya is getting a lot of great damage back onto the knee. Seeing that all these players are very good about getting one good starter center stage and dragging it to the wall. This Kazuya finding great opportunities to start things off.
Patience, patience. Here we see Moss get him up against the wall and see if he can actually break the wall or anything. And here we go. So the combo continuer, that's a guaranteed hit there.
A lot of extra value, and I'm expecting to see some crazy electric combos as well, especially when you're crouch dashing like that. A very good launcher will get a couple of hits, and they're going for that dash move once again. But Kazuya with one combo starter into the electric, keeping the string going. 3 of the same move, going for the laser. It's not enough, but Moss goes
impact whatsoever.
Yeah, Moss is definitely finding good openings, but there's that rising god fist or something along those lines, because it just keeps you
off here.
Yeah, I mean, that was beautiful. Again, Moss going for that move, but Kazuya dashing into the foreground, gets a little bit more momentum off of it. But again, this Kazuya, one electric into the string, all the way up to the wall. Here comes the damage. Almost a third of Moss's health off of one combo, and he is not.
Moss's whole combo going. And here we go again. Just seems like Moss can never get back on the ground.
Yeah, we do see those hand slaps coming into play, but it's not doing as much as great options from Rising. Kazuya getting a good heat dash in, going for a couple of crouch dashes in the face, and Moss caught again in a very going if he so chooses, but this time around we see the twin pistons able to get a good amount of damage. 3 jabs into the electric, couple of crouch dashes, gets the launcher, goes for another. Taking what Kazuya has been doing it and turning it against him.
The sign of a good player is learning what other players do to beat you. And right there, just dashing into the foreground, and here we see
understanding, trying different stuff. If you aren't familiar with your answers for this matchup, that's okay, but you can't be going for the same thing over and over. This time around, the grab does connect.
Right there. All these little moves that Kazuya is doing don't do that much, but if Moss gets a single opening to just unload onto him, the Kazuya loses so much HP.
Yeah, and keeps Nina up against this wall. Goes for the heat reactivation on the wall. Goes for a very strong hit with the grab. Goes for a quick punch. The heat dash back into the center side of the stage as both players are going for their next couple of hits.
Yeah, man, this Kazuya has so much patience there. Moss was doing these dash attacks
to break the wall. Moss may have been able to secure that round, but Kazuya doing a great job of recognizing that. Recognizing the game plan Moss wanted, and in exchange, it leads to at the cost of about half the gauge. Goes for the heat dash, goes for the grab, but finds himself broken out and up against the wall. Does get the advantage, gets a good amount of chip damage going, and a lot in Tekken, unless you have a purpose, maybe to find a wall rising attack. But because of that, we see just how valuable a standing Mishima is, as the heat initiation offers so much, and Mossman does go down. Unfortunate, but still a very strong showing from Mossman today, able to take a round off of a Tekken, I believe, what was it? The highest rank, a God of Destruction is the name. Understandably so. That was a very scary Mishima.
I mean, it was 2 rounds total, to be fair.
Yeah.
And I mean, they both looked really strong. Even in the rounds that he lost, like, it seems like, you know, he had opening.
understand it. This wasn't the plan. Don't wanna demand it. I've done what I can. And I never mentioned the times you were rude. And I never mentioned when you hid the truth. Scared to lose it all. I won't stand a chance. And I don't wanna fake it. What stay.